Okay, just hold that chord. Skull.
Skull.
Skull. Skull. Skull. Skull. Skull. Yeah. Keep pushing on out. Hard to get really excited for a game with a 6-8 team against a 2-12 team.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because playoff games in December. Oh, wait, we're not in playoff games. I think I'm in the vast minority. I don't want him to tank, but I want him to lose 3 in a row because we get a better draft pick. And I want the team to play well, though. And I want McCarthy to play well. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not even asking you to accept that and agree that that's what you want, but can you understand my logic, or do you think it's so illogical, so preposterous, and still, we got a new liner we got to get Diego to do. The Common Man program, stupid on purpose with a purpose. Swedberg and I came up with that. That's a good slogan for the show, don't you think? The Common Man, stupid on purpose with a purpose. You like it?
Huh?
Well, because we're stupid on purpose.
Back when Swedberg used to be our boss, I'd be like, I think that's really funny, really great. I don't have to do the robot voice
That's
anymore.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say meh.
You should, in other words, you think I should send it to rewrite and have him punch it up. Do you get my logic at all, or is it just totally preposterous?
It's kind of freeing not to have to do the robot voice.
Yeah, it is kind of nice, isn't it? Because I don't think I have to do it for my good friend Mitch Davis, who took over as the, whatever that long fancy title is, Senior Vice President of Programming, iHeart Minneapolis. Can you understand my logic that I want to get, like, the more games you lose, the higher your draft pick.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be, and I want McCarthy to make progress. He can still. Matt Stafford threw for 600 yards last night and lost. He played brilliantly. Why can't McCarthy throw for 600 yards, 500 yards? Throw for 250, 300 again in a losing effort? What's the big deal? Because here's the other thing. I heard the soundbite in there. So I can tell you're not with me on this, right? Are you with me on this? He said, like, we want to stack them in December so we can fall back on that next year. Do you believe that if they were to win some games here in December, that benefits the team? See, I don't believe that. I think each year is so individualistic, as we know.
It'll be a different team.
We were 14-3 last year in the regular season. This year, let's say we might be 8-9 or 9-8. Right? And it's like, well, I don't think next year they're going to be in week 6 and they're going to be lined up and the guy's going to go, I remember December. It's a December to remember. And then he thinks about the Lexus he wants to buy. But you see what I'm saying? I just don't think that anything, it's like the contract, it's like the distraction. Is so-and-so's contract, he's at a stalemate. Like, is Kaprizov's contract, he was waiting for that contract, is it a distraction to the other player? I don't think when Boldy's skating down the right side of the rink into the neutral zone, he's thinking, man, I wonder if Kirill's going to sign that deal or not. And then he loses the puck and they go the other way and the other team scores. I don't believe in any of that. I don't. I get, and the coach is saying what he has to say, because that's what they have to say, but I don't believe that it in any way, he loves saying in any way, shape or form. He says that a lot. That's one of his favorites. And I like that one as well. I don't think in any way, shape, or form does it really benefit the team next year.
Well, I understand the angle you're trying to go at.
Okay.
My only counter to that would be, I don't know how much movement can be made.
Oh.
Depending on winning or losing with the draft picks, right? I mean, there's 6 teams right now that are 3-11 and worse. So, like, you ain't getting into the top 6. Right now, the Vikings are in the 11th spot.
Right.
So your 3 losses might get you to go from 11 to 9, right? Like, it's not, you're not, and even after that bottom 6, you still have 3 more teams that are 4 and 10. Bengals, Saints, Commanders. Like, what are the odds any of those 3 teams are jumping the Vikings? Not going to happen. So you're not getting into the top 9. So at this point, you're sweating pick 11 as opposed to pick 14. Which, sure, I guess, would I rather have the 11 pick than the 14 pick? Of course. Odds are there's not going to be a huge difference in a playmaker there, where I'd still rather just, see the progress within the team, specifically when you have your young quarterback.
We might have to move up to get Pavia, the quarterback from Vanderbilt, the guy that said, bleat the voters. I just love that he just dialed that back, so he backpedaled faster than Rosen. Because his handler said, dude, what are you doing? Dude, the NFL teams don't want to draft guys like
stupid.
you. Yeah. And he's probably not going to. I think he's shorter than I am. And you can be short and play quarterback, but it's not ideal, right? The ideal quarterback now is what, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 220?
Those NFL linemen are taller than those college linemen.
Yeah, that's what they want. That's exactly right. So that's what you want to see. All right, you've changed my mind. I want to win, and I want to win now. I guess I'm with you then. I want to see 3 wins in a row. I want to stack them.
If we didn't have your potential franchise young quarterback, then I would, right? If Nick Mullins is playing right now, I'd be like, lose them all.
Yeah.
But I still out. Not that you're going to learn everything about J.J. McCarthy in the next 3 weeks, but there still might be a decision to be made this offseason on the quarterback. So I need to get every little piece of information I can out of him to determine whether we want to go that route again, or if we want to bring in some competition, or if we want to go in a different direction.
Yeah. Well, I guess my argument though was that he plays well and makes progress. Because like Stafford last night. Now I'm comparing Stafford to McCarthy. I was just comparing. You can have a brilliant game and still lose.
Sure.
Stafford lost last night in OT. He threw for. How about Puka Nacua? How many? Did you see his night?
Yeah.
He went off for, was it 240 to 225?
2 tutties.
But that was it. I tell you what, a little too much offense for me, right? I like defensive games, but that was highly entertaining. And the result couldn't have been better for me with the little spread swing debate Rosen and I had. Because remember, I was going to take Chicago. And then he started doing that. Sam Darnold's having nightmares from what happened last night. Whoa, wait a minute now.
I'm sure he was getting pretty haughty last night in his own brain, too, as that game was going along. Absolutely.
We had a little back and forth, which was fun. Well, and I made the accusation yesterday, and I don't know if you agree with this. He wants I'm of the opinion he does not want Darnold to perform well because then it looks bad for Minnesota's.
I think that's a Minnesota fan mentality that a lot of
absolutely. That's why he wanted. That's why he was doing
even in the Quinn Hughes trade. We will have the best player in that trade. Yeah, I guarantee there's Minnesota sports fans cheering against Zeeb Bouye moving forward, cheering against Marco Rossi,
right? Because they don't want to make it look like we got the worst end of that deal. So last night I texted Rosen and tweeted. I tweeted. I think Sam Darnold's having nightmares from the Rams playoff game last year, right? And then he texted me back, right? Well, then you saw what happened. I mean, Darnold he threw an interception at the goal line. He threw 2 bad interceptions. He got tricked by the defensive coordinator and the players 2 different times. One was almost returned for a tutty. The other one stopped him at the goal line. But then he was brilliant late in the game, guided him to 2 touchdowns. Well, they got the return for 1. Anyway, long story short, I was able to text Rosen and tweet out. I said, from nightmares to a dream come true. Old Sam Darnold had an arm. E-I-E-I-O. And I think that is big for the side. Now, they tried to bait him into it last night. The one thing that they do on Netflix when they do the games, they have their crew at the stadium and they bring up 2 players to interview right after the game, after they get a chance to go to the locker room. And it was Darnold and Najigba last night, right? And they tried to get Darnold to do the old, it's good to get revenge. I'd get the monkey off my back with the Rams, and he wasn't having any part of it. He basically did that. They're all big, right? But I think deep down that probably did mean because that team, he was 1-4 against the Rams, and he threw 4 picks earlier this year. You saw what he did last year in the playoff game against the Vikings, so I think that was more their offensive line. But I think that they said he couldn't win a big game. That was the rap on him, right? And you could make that argument. Now, last night wasn't a playoff game, and but it was a big game.
It's a huge regular season game.
It's a huge regular season game, and he was shaky. But I can tell people, I know we have to break here, but people threw those 2 interceptions. Well, there's only a hand. I mean, he's not the best quarterback in pro football. He's not. Who would say that? There's only, you got Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen, and maybe one or two other guys, and those are your top guys. I don't even know if Joe Burrow's there anymore. I haven't seen enough of Joe Burrow healthy to know how Joe Burrow can play. So you have different, not everybody can have Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. So you have to, that's why they tier quarterbacks when they do those power rankings. And so he's pretty good to have on your club. He was good last night, and they win the game. We'll take a break. We'll talk more Vikings football. Lil B's back after 2 weeks off.
Yeah, baby.
In touch of the program at 1 o'clock. Program password should be exciting. Is Lil B and myself tend to be hosting, of course. It will be Meat Sauce, Lucky, along with Max Fro. So that should be fun. All that and more coming up on the Common Man program here on The Fan.
KFAN welcomes some great shows at Grand Casino Arena in the next year. Pentatonics will be there on November 20th. Rascal Flats on January 23rd. And Eric Church on February 7th. Tickets are on sale now. Get the complete details on all our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pastime, common Whiff of the Wild, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable Dash Electric is how you get in touch with them. And when the temps drop like they have been, how cold was it last night? That wind chill was near 20, I think. But when those temps drop like they are now, space heaters come out, and so do electrical problems. Overloaded circuits, tripped breakers, and melting outlets. They're more common than you think. Keep your family safe this winter with Affordable Electric. They have licensed electricians, of course, and they can add dedicated circuits, upgrade panels, and fix dangerous wiring before it becomes an emergency. Stay warm and stay safe. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And they are, remember, shockingly affordable. We kind of did the Vikings bit. I think we kind of covered that. The Vikings play the Giants in the Meadowlands this coming weekend, Sunday. Coverage begins at 10. Be here for the Pooch Kick at 12 noon. Two teams going nowhere except home at the end of the season. Well, the Giants are already at home. They're not going to go anywhere else. They're in the Meadowlands. We'll have that game where we look for progress from J.J. McCarthy. Wild win again last night, Tennessee. It's like
all they do is win.
Yeah, I oftentimes during 5-3-4, you'll have a question that starts with trend or mirage. This is a trend. You can't say this is a mirage. I mean, we know things can change in a hurry. We've seen it with this Wild club. Mm-hmm. This year and last year both started exactly the opposite and kind of ended the opposite, right? Great start, then faded away. This year we had a terrible start. Now we've come on. But the trade, I think, obviously Hughes infused some enthusiasm with the club. Everybody's excited about it. I mean, and I think the players all handle it right. Three guys were traded from your current roster, and you're all teammates and you're brothers, and you're all for one and one for all, and you don't step on the logo on the carpet in the middle of the locker room. And you don't want to say, well, yeah, we got this guy's worth three more. We're so you want to say you're happy he's here, but you don't want to. You do miss your guys. But I think anybody would argue. I think you could make the argument, and no one could argue with you, that the team's better with Hughes. Though now last night, one shot on goal, no goals, no assists. Did we really need him?
Yes, they need him.
Oh, okay.
Well, especially with the amount of injuries they have right now on that blue line alone, they're without four defensemen. So Quinn Hughes has had to pick up the amount of minutes. He's a 25 minutes a night kind of person. And he's had to play 29-ish for you the last couple games because they are just decimated right now. Brodeen's out and Middleton's out and Bogo's out and Damon Hunt's out. So they're playing. Carson Lambos made his NHL debut last night. It seems like half their roster is the Iowa Wild right now. And that's what makes this run even more impressive is I don't want to get too Skatrich-like here, but it's the thought of what's going to happen when this team, if they ever get fully healthy, of how they're going to look. Right now you have Trenyon on your second line and Tarasenko on your second line and playing some guys in your bottom six that should be in Iowa. Half your D-core should be in Iowa. And all they do is continue to win. And after seeing Quinn Hughes now for a stretch, the last two games, they've had a line of Kaprizov, Boldy, Eriksson together.
Yurov,
with Quinn,
Trennan, and Tarasenko, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about like the main five, right?
Okay.
Those three, and then they put Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber on the ice together. So all five of those guys, your best five players are on the ice together. They look unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't spend a lick in their own zone. They have the puck in the and it's so weird to say this as a Wild fan. Like, our high end guys are as good as anyone's now.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if you took the top three forwards and top two defensemen on any given team in the National Hockey League, we're right up there with any of them. And I've never said that as a Minnesota Wild fan. And once you get some health back and get some depth to go along with it, that's just going to supplement even more. And then the goaltending's been good again. I mean, Volstead was solid last night. It's hard not to be excited as a Wild fan. This team's got a lot of potential this season.
When the forwards regain their health, do you split up Yurov, Trennan, and Tarasenko? They've been brilliant, have they not?
Man, it's hard to say. It's weird to say because
Tarasenko he's beating Father Time.
Well, Yurov and Tarasenko combined for 3 goals 2 games ago.
Okay.
And then last night they had a beautiful goal on a 3-on-2 rush, just tic-tac-toe. Tarasenko puts in the net. I'm not ready to keep those 3 together forever, but the last couple of games have been very nice. And what they've gotten out of Tarasenko these last 2 games, if they can get that moving forward. But, this is a team that once you get healthy, and I don't think they're done before the trade deadline. I think you're still going to try to add offense.
Ooh.
I mean, your blue line's good and your goaltending's good. I think you still want to add a little more offensive punch.
Above average at that.
You might go, I don't know how many assets they have to give anymore because they've given up a lot of assets the last couple of years for Juracek and then Quinn Hughes. But I wouldn't, salary cap wise, they should be fine at least for this season to still be able to go out and get a big salary guy. So I think they can still add because they're proving they can contend for the cup.
Someone sent a text that says Quinn set a career high for a time on the ice last night. That was a career high for him. He had somebody said it was 32 minutes. Is that right?
Did he get 32 last night?
That's what somebody said, and that's a career high for him.
Well, if I had Quinn Hughes, I'd throw him over the boards every other shift too.
Let me ask you this. See if you can answer this question. Riddle me this. You mentioned when our top 5 players are on, we're basically, nothing's going to stop us now. They're Starship. Yeah. Should we just start calling them the Starship line? Let's do that. And
they are a bunch of stars.
They sing together. When the Starship line is on the ice, if you're the opponent, let's say you're the coach to the other club, what do you do to try to, I know you can't shut them down, but what do you do to slow them up? Do you put your best line against them? Do you rough them up? Not necessarily cheap shot, but try to get physical. What can a team do in an effort to try to?
I don't mean to take the easy way out on your question. It all depends on what your personnel is on that team, right? Clearly, you're putting your best defensive defenseman out against them. Right. If you are a team, right, like the Wild can throw Joel Eriksson out against, if you're going up against Connor McDavid, who's overrated, you throw Eriksson over the board. Yeah. He's your best checking center.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you better have players that are accustomed to playing in their own zone and aren't going to panic in your own zone and aren't going to turn the puck over when they get it.
I'm not sure if the parade will go from St. Paul to Minneapolis. I think they should include both cities, but do we want to be at the beginning of the parade or the end of the parade? Because the end of the parade, they'll end in St. Paul, right? At Grand Casino Arena?
I would think so.
So do you and I want to be at the end of the parade or where it begins or somewhere in the middle? Beginning of the middle of the end. I think I want to be at the very end.
I think you'll be leading the bandwagon is what you'll be doing.
That's how I roll. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Tom Pohlad takes over for Joe Pohlad. He had a wide-ranging, free-flowing news conference the other day when they announced that he would be taking over running the day-to-day operations of the team. He'd also be the liaison between Major League Baseball and the team, taking over for Jim Pohlad. And he also talked about the limiteds. But there were some comments there that raised some interesting issues. I want to dive into those, Tim, to the other side of the break. It's the Common Man program with Common and 10 and B, right here on the Fan.
Feel the energy of the state of hockey. Minnesota Wild Hockey is back at Grand Casino Arena. Don't miss the speed, the hits, and the roar of the crowd. Get your tickets now at wild.com/tickets.
The Myrtle Beach Bowl presented by Ingen is the one I've been waiting. I'm just so happy that it happened early because it's one I've been waiting for. I really thought Kennesaw State would be able to give Western Michigan everything they wanted, but apparently Western Michigan has taken anything they wanted. 3:50 to go, clock running. I think they're on running time now, Tennessee. Western Michigan slightly edging Kennesaw State 41-6.
It's a big one.
Is anybody, I wish they would show a shot of the stands. I guarantee it's not even a quarter full, right? Because I don't think there's enough people that live wherever Kennesaw State or Western Michigan is located that could even fill the stands. They're just small little communities, college towns.
It's basically just guys that were there on golf trips in Myrtle Beach who go, oh, there's a football game going on. We got nothing to do for the next couple hours.
Correct.
Those are the only people that showed up.
Yeah, if they even showed up, but that would be it. You're absolutely right. It was announced a couple of days ago, I think, beginning of the week, that the Minnesota Twins finally announced who their limited part. Craig Leopold of the Wild bought in.
Yeah.
Then the Glick family, and then another family. So they have like 3 or 4 different people. They have a couple of other smaller ones too that have all bought a portion of the team. The Twins did it to try to. They claimed to be $500 million in debt, and this was the money that these new limiteds gave the Pohlads to purchase part of the club will pay down that debt. It's also announced that Tom Pohlad, the older brother to Joe, would, and I think. Is it Jim's son? One of the.
It's hard to keep track of him anymore.
But he's one of the sons of the one of the Rob, Chip, and Ernie, the sons of Carl Pohlad. And Tom is taking over. He's older brother to Joe. He's succeeding his brother as the family member overseeing the Twins organization. And then, pending Major League Baseball approval, he will replace his uncle, Jim, as the franchise's control person to serve as the primary liaison in Major League Baseball. So he's putting a lot on his plate. What I found interesting, Ted, I actually admire Tom for this and the Pohlad family. Here's what he said. It's been hard on our family. This decision to make a transition within our family has been extremely difficult. It's been hard on the relationship between Joe and myself. It's been especially hard on my dad and my 2 uncles. All Joe ever wanted was to be part of this organization and to lead it and help this franchise win a world championship. Things change. We have to make a decision as a family. He understands. He has been graceful, kind, and believes that whatever is in the best interest of the organization is best. That's pretty forthcoming. They're basically saying, they basically went to Joe and said, you're out.
Yeah.
It's not working. You're done. It was hard on Joe. He wanted that job. He loved that. Matter of fact, remember when they announced they were selling the team, I don't know if it was right away he said this, but sometime during the time when they first announced it to where they got now, where they decided not to sell the team, he said, yeah, we'd like to sell, but I want to keep running it. This is what he wanted to do. And they could have easily just said, Joe didn't want to do it anymore. He wanted to step back from it. You know what I'm saying? To protect him. Because I'm not saying necessarily it's embarrassing, but he was demoted. You're not going to do it anymore.
After a short time.
After a very short period of time. And so I thought at least, so if there is forthcoming there, hopefully the organization, now being led by Tom Pohlad, will be as open and honest with the fans. As a matter of fact, he says that later. He says, quote, we've got to do a better job. He said, we've got to do a better job of telling fans where we're going, how we're going to get there and why we're doing the things we're doing. I commit to that going forward. So again, he's promising, he's committing to it, complete transparency. Communication. Though there's some of it here, though, that he goes on to say, we're in it for the long haul, adding that the Major League Baseball approval process led the delay before Wednesday's minority ownership reveal. Pohlad family accumulated $500 million. I'm reading from a Fish Wrap Factory West Side story. The Pohlad family accumulated $500 million in debt, about a third of the team's market value, while running the Twins. That swelled over the past 5 years. The two biggest culprits in declining revenues were ticket sales, particularly during the COVID-affected seasons from 2020 to 2021, and they lost a regional sports network TV deal, which netted them $54.8 million in 2023. Tom goes on to say, we have chosen for some time now to continue to invest beyond what the revenues support. People like to say we're not committed to investing in this team. $500 million of debt would tell you exactly the opposite. That's how the debt got to where it is. Well, did it, or was it because more of COVID? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I think that had more to do with it than anything. The revenues weren't there. But he says the sale process led to a lot of self-reflection among the family members about what needs to change with how they run the organization. He says, it's undeniable that we haven't won enough baseball games. The financial health of the club has been put in jeopardy, and we've got a fan base that has lost trust in us as owners. And as a result, this organization and the direction is headed. With the conclusion of the transaction, now is the time to put new leadership in place and have a renewed sense of energy, a renewed sense of focus, a different level of accountability, and ultimately a clearer direction on where we're taking this organization. Now, of course, Genevieve, you've heard the old cliche, talk is cheap. So you can say all this, we'll see where it leads. Yeah. Because he does talk about spending money. He says, we certainly are within reach of winning a division title. He thinks right now they are within reach of winning a division title. We'll continue to look at moves we can make that will help us accomplish that. Then the question was asked in the piece by the Fish Wrap, why not put more money toward the payroll to give the roster a better chance of winning in 2026? Here's what he says. I don't think the landscape, what I see right now, that we should put a significant investment into the team of adding $50 to $60 million to the payroll. But I don't think we're far off from that. He plans to be an active owner, but noted he will leave baseball decision-making to team president Derek Falvey and general manager Jeremy Zoll. So what he's saying is, if I can interpret this, doesn't seem like it's too difficult. Oh, they're willing to spend more money again. They just don't think now is the right time. But if you think you can compete for a division title, which he just said, wouldn't that be the time to invest? So to me, that doesn't make any sense. That's where, to me, there's a bit of a disconnect between me and what he's saying. I liked everything else he was saying. I like being forthcoming. And if they really, if what he said in these quotes I've read, if he really means all that. But to me, I don't understand that. If you think you can compete for a division title as it stands, then why wouldn't you buttress the payroll with some extra money and add some other players, right? Then that seemed like it would only make sense. I don't know.
I think the competing for division title is one of those cliches you used because you want season ticket holders to renew and you want to make sure you have butts in the seats. But when you send as many players away as they did last year, that's not a 1-year turnaround, right? You're bringing in a bunch. You're bringing in a bunch of prospects in return. Those guys aren't just going to be ready in 2026 to contribute at a major league level for it. It's a 2, 3, 4 year process.
Here's what else he said, and this kind of dovetails a little bit with what I was talking about with the Vikings going back to, when you decided after the Sam Darnold year, you went 14-3. We know they lost to the Kitties. Darnold was bad. got clobbered by the Rams in the playoffs, and Darnold didn't play well, but I think more than anything that had a lot to do with the offensive line. But it says here, the Twins signaled to teams at the end of November after conversations with their ownership structure, they plan to keep their all-star players. It's the, quote, needle that we're trying to thread between fielding a competitive team next year while shifting to a younger core of the roster. Pohlad goes on to say, there was probably an argument to tear the whole thing down, get as much value as you can for our players, and really put an emphasis on 2 years from now or 3 years from now. On paper, yeah, maybe that makes sense, but you can't just look at things on paper. We owe the fan base something. We owe our veteran and star players something. We owe this organization something, and that something is hope. So they're selling hope. As I've talked about many, many times, that's what all professional sports teams sell is a hope. You hope they have a good draft. You hope they have a good free agency. You hope they have a good OTA. You hope they have good mini camps, good preseason, blah, blah, blah. And then, change it to baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever the case may be. But, when he says we owe it to our fan base, we owe our veteran and star players something. And that's what I was talking about. Remember when we discussed, well, yeah, you can say, we're going to play McCarthy, and he's going to just have to learn as we go. But you have veteran players on that team, including Justin Jefferson, who has taken this all very well, at least publicly. He's not pouted, he's not complained, he hasn't done the diva stuff, he hasn't asked out, and I believe that's how he really feels. But that's what we were talking about when, and there are people that when I would discuss that with me, they'd say, too bad for you. You just tell the players, well, too bad. Suck it up. This is what the organization is going to do, which is true. The organization can do whatever they want, but that's dangerous if you start looking at guys that they're laying it on the line, guys in the training room, guys that are trying to play for extra contracts. They want to win, and all of a sudden, sorry, our quarterback's been really bad. It's going to take, it's going to take at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years for him to get any good. You owe to the fan base, you owe to the organization, you owe to the veteran player. So it's a delicate dance you're doing. I get that, and he's admitting to that right now. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I don't know anything about Tom Pohlad other than what I read here.
Sure,
but it does seem like this is a move that needed to be made because Joe just wasn't getting it done. When he did the old, what did he say? What was it? The right sizing, the payroll. Remember when that quote came out? That's the one that hung with him forever. And it really made fans bitter about right sizing the payroll.
Well, and then and you mentioned this one before, when they originally said they were going to sell the team, and then the reports came out that he would still like to run he'd like to run the club, even though they're going to sell it to somebody else. I'm like, that's just a guy who doesn't get it. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And so,
now what, and to your point on Tom, you got to follow through with everything what he's saying. But I think at least what Tom appears to be recognizing is there's a huge disconnect between our organization and the fans right now. The biggest it's ever been. And we need to do everything we can to clean that back up. Now, I also do think the fans are so disconnected that I think other than spending money on players, I don't think they're ever going to believe in you again.
Yeah.
And are the Pohlads going to be willing to do that?
The only way without spending money on players, if some of these young guys come up right away and make immediate impacts, because they did. I saw it again. I don't know where. And again, I have to take the people that I trust. I have to take their word for it. Because I've read in several different places, I think both Fish Wraps, The Athletic, and other places, that the Twins have been rated as the second best, as far as accumulation of young talent. Their minor league system is ranked number 2 right now with prospects.
Well, they should be with how many they trade.
Exactly. And ones they had before the trades, but the people they acquired. So let's just, and again, you and I have had this discussion. You can have 10 highly regarded prospects. How many of those 10, what percentage of those will end up being superstar players? Maybe 1? How many will be just good quality players that will be mainstays in the lineup for 6-7 years? Maybe 2 more, right? Maybe. And how many of the pitchers? Maybe 1 guy. So and I don't know if those odds are, but you could hit the jackpot. You could have 10 guys and 8 of them are superstars, and then you're in business. So you're right. Unless they spend money or they bring up 5 young guys this year, and they're all get off to great starts. And you're just doing the old, God, we're a young team. We're playing well. We got great guys. And then if they did what the Wild just did by trading for Quinn Hughes, if they went out then, made a trade and said, because remember we waited for that all the time when those teams were winning division titles back in the aughts. What they didn't do was when it came to trade deadline, they rarely tried to make the team better with a major trade. They could
have used a Bill Guerin back then.
Yeah, they could have used a really big. And you know what? That still might not have worked. We know that. That's the argument from the Pohlad pocket protectors. Spending money on guys doesn't guarantee anything. Well, yeah, but it still gives you a better chance if that guy pans out. So,
well, even to go to the Wild, even if the Quinn Hughes things completely falls apart, I think everyone in the Wild fan base goes, respect you going up to the plate and swinging. Right. Even the Parisi Suter thing. Right now, was that as bad as maybe we think it was? They were basically a playoff team for 8 years in a row and had a shot, and it obviously did not end well. But I still think most Wild fan goes, I like that Chuck Fletcher took a shot on that day.
And that's the way I felt about the Gobert deal. How many times? I know I repeat myself all the time, but I said, I don't know if it's going to work, but as bad as this team has been,
what do you do?
I repeat myself.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. I repeat myself. I'm all for it. Got to try something. The franchise has been so inept and so unsuccessful. We had that stretch where we had, under McHale and Flip, where we went to the playoffs like 7 times in a row.
One and dones.
But we were one and done all 7 of those. And so Conley, hard to argue. I mean, I know we got bounced in the Western Conference Finals, and we really weren't that far out of winning those. We just needed to win 3 more games and not lose 4. We lost 4 games to 1 in each one. But at least the team got to the West. They hadn't been there. They'd only been there once, 2003, and all back-to-back years. So you're right. I'm the same way with Garrett. Let's say it looks like we're going to qualify for the play. I mean, it would have to be complete and total collapse. But we make the playoffs. And let's say we get out of the first round this year and then lose in the second, or get to the conference finals and lose. And then let's say Hughes decides, I really want to play with my brothers. I'm not signing. Well, okay. But at least they, like you say, they took a chance, because there's no guarantees in any of these draft picks, these trades, any of this. There's no guarantee, because we don't know how good what's the ceiling for all these guys. How many of these guys can, like we say with the Twins farm system, how many of those guys will end up being players that you can count on year after year for, like I say, 6-7 years? So I love the trade that Guerin did. I love what Conley did. And I like what Tom Pohlad has said. But, the old actions speak louder than words. We'll see how it goes.
By the way, you made the comment of, what if Quinn leaves and wants to go play with his brothers? Mm-hmm. What if his brothers want to come play with Quinn?
Oh my gosh.
You've not seen nothing like the mighty Quinn. That could be.
What if they go, man, that Minnesota looks like a fun place to play. They got themselves a team. Let's go there.
Are both those guys, how good are they? I know they're not in his caliber. Are they both?
Well, Jack is pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say Luke is the least of the 3.
Okay.
Quinn's an absolute stud. He's a top 2 defenseman, top 10 player in the league. Jack is one of the best young players in the league.
Okay. So he'd be worth having.
And I think his contract's up in 3 years, I think is what I heard.
And then
or is it, yeah. Is it 3 or 4 years? With Quinn, I think people are worried, hey, you get to this offseason and he's not going to want to re-sign here. I think it's possible Quinn matches up his contract with Jack so that they hit free agency at the same time. So you might get like a short extension here.
Okay.
See how it goes.
Right.
And if you like it and the team's, contending for cups every year and got yourself a chance, then you might stay here and try to bring your brother Jack here.
They're terrible owners. They've created this. It was their own doing, and they've done it systematically over the last 25 years. Hold on. They had an opportunity to expand the fan base when Target Field opened. They've squandered every opportunity they've been presented. The failure of their ownership will be taught in business schools someday. I can't argue with anything he said, and that's why I said actions. I just at least... I like what Pohlad said. That's all. What I'm saying is, I've never seen this franchise this forthcoming. They've denied all that. You know? They've always tried to act like, oh, no, it's just we're small.
We don't put any limits on the payroll.
Yeah, we don't put limits on the payroll. And, we're just a small market. We're fighting the uphill battle a little. And that could. At least Tom's saying, we know we've let the fans down, the organization down. We know they hate us. He's admitting everything. And whether, the one thing, like I say, is, yeah, we're gonna bump up the payroll someday. It's like
someday, some way.
Yeah. So again, it's like, okay, well, that's where you kind of loses me a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, for me more than anything was when they basically said Joe ain't cutting it, because that's what they said. Joe ain't cutting it. I got to take over. Yeah. It's time to. There needs to be somebody else, because it doesn't sound like Tom wanted. From what I understand about, was it Tom or Joe? I think it was Tom. He went to like Boston College and he spent a year. Rosen used to watch him in study hall, because he had a Boston College student camp as well. And Tom, I think, spent like a year like interning with Major League Baseball or something like that. So, and then that's really not what he wanted to do. Not everybody wants to be in the family business. I'd love to be running a club myself, but I would have got let go too, because I would have spent all.
That would get a little awkward at Christmas and the family holidays, though, when. Well, I just took over for you because you weren't very good at your job. Well, and like he even, as in that quote, as we saw, I mean, he said it's been difficult between me and my brother. Yeah, so, they should have just sold the team.
Yeah, well, they probably should have, but there's where we are now. We'll take about Western Michigan still leads Kennesaw State 41-6. 10 minutes to go. Kennesaw State's not out of this. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. We'll break. We'll come back. Thank you. We'll take a break. We'll come back. And Feminine Touch, she's back. Lil B. She joins us next. Common Man program on the Fan.